Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
You know your intuition can communicate through smell and taste. And what does your day taste like? Hello, this is Angelscapes podcast, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith. Join me in this episode to talk about physical intuitive senses. Intuition communicates through your five senses known as clairs. In this episode, we will talk about clairgustance and clairalience, and we'll also talk about messages from your physical body. So let's start with clairalience, which means clear smelling. It's a psychically linked sense of smell, also known as clarifaction or clairalience or clairessence. I should never bring hard words on this podcast. These words are derived from the direct French translations meaning clear smelling. An offshoot from clairsentient. With these, clairsentient is feeling. Clairsentience kind of is the parent of clairgusting and clairalience, because we are feeling and we are sensing something outside of our bodies through our senses. With those clairaliences, those who have clairaliences can smell their way into a situation. Defined as clear smelling, this clair allows one to invoke memory, emotion, and even see the future based on a smell that one takes in through their senses. And we'll go a little further into that. Clairgustance is directly linked to clairalience. Clairgustance means clear tasting. Clairgustance is the psychic ability to experience the physical sensation of taste quite randomly without anything entering your mouth. These two psychic abilities often work together to heighten your senses and allow you to notice certain smells that you've not noticed before or certain tastes that you've not noticed before. But really quickly want to tell you about the other clairs. So many of us have psychic abilities. The knowledge we gain through our physical senses is only a small part of what we perceive in the world. And sometimes our clairs, why I call this physical intuition, is the fact that some of the clairs are etheric and they're more in the etheric realm. Like, for instance, clairaudience. You feel, you can hear, but you're not really hearing what's next to you. You're kind of hearing an inner voice, or you're hearing something within yourself. And it's usually connected with spirit or with your inner intuition as well. Clairvoyance is also a way of clearly seeing through your third eye something. It's an inner seeing. Mediums and intuitives don't usually see the thing in front of them, but they're sensing it through a visual sense from the third eye. And claircognizance is probably the most important clair. This is the clair that we all intuitives want to really be strong in, is about having clear knowing. And this claircognizance is really about knowing God and hearing and knowing what God is about, and knowing and being, you're knowing without knowing. And claircognizance is oftentimes what a trance will bring. There'll be a knowing running through, and then we go into deeper trance. It's just the throat, and the spirit will go into that. That's another show, but it'll come through your vocal cords. But it sometimes starts with claircognizance, knowing God and being connected to God itself. So did I cover them all? Clairvoyance, clairaudient, claircognizance, clairsentient. We talked a little bit about that, where clairgusting and clairalience, it comes from clairsentient, but they have their own places within. You have your tasting and your smelling, so they're all olfactory. They're all physical. So some unmistakable clairalience signs are, have you always noticed smells in the air, powerful or faint? Are you sensitive to the smells that you notice? And what about the smells that nobody else seems to notice? They sometimes are, they don't have a proper source. They're not, you're smelling like tomato sauce cooking, and you're in, you know, you're in the grocery store and there's no stoves there, or you're walking the streets and you're smelling cookies baking. Their smells are out of place. I often will smell. I have a helper. I have a spirit helper that smokes cigarettes down here. As I in well, I shouldn't say down here, in my studio when I'm working, I'll smell cigarette smoke, and nobody in my house smokes. And that's a guide, or that, I don't know if guides smoke, but I think that's somebody from spirit. That's a medium that smokes around me and just wants me to know that they're there. My dad used to smoke a lot. Sometimes you have an unknown perfume when it's wafting by and in your home, and sometimes it's a smell that helps you. It reminds you of something. As a medium, I oftentimes will connect with a communicator, and I'll have a smell, and I'll say he wore this specific cologne. It smelled like this, or she loved to wear perfume, or something like that. It's a way of connecting to spirit and describing and explaining who spirit is. Clairalience is often a neglected intuitive sense, but it can be developed. And some people may be predisposed to clairalience, or perhaps more in tune to it than others. It may be hard to tell if you are inherently clairalient. I think you could train yourself to have that sensitivity. All of our senses and intuitions can be developed, and you can get you can ask yourself, your guides, to help get a sense of clairalience through meditation and through also practicing. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that, how you can practice clairalience. So examples of clairalient experiences, I can say these words. Clairalience is a commonly noticed ability. Many paranormal investigators report smelling sulfur when investigating certain spirits or loved ones who passed, or another paranormal or other paranormal phenomena. And I want to be careful with that, because I know that some people have a connection of sulfur being with the devil or being evil. And so I don't really want to push that, as much as sometimes paranormal investigators can have a smell of something when spirit comes close or draws close, or the energies, disincarnate energies, move forward. An average experience with clairalience usually can happen shortly after a loved one has passed. And this loved one may be reaching out to you through the sense of smell or the sense of taste, clairgustance. If you've noticed a smell of somebody's cigarettes or favorite candle, perfume, or cooking is, I get a lot of Italian grandmothers who love to have me smell up their food. It's just amazing. And I'm like, you're describing the food, and yeah, that's definitely my grandmother, definitely is, kind of thing. And trust your sense of smell. Trust your sense of that it's giving you a message. You can unpack in mediumship or in your intuition. A smell can come through, and you can unpack that smell and say, what are you telling me? So if you're not working with mediumship and a smell comes toward you and it's out of context, you can say, well, what is this smell? And you can kind of, what is the message of the smell? What does the smell remind me of? It can sometimes be meeting somebody for the first time, or you're maybe in an agreement, or you're buying a used car, and it can start to smell. I oftentimes will smell when I'm doing a big purchase, and I will say, what does it smell like? Smells like stale carpet. Look, sounds like something got spilled on the floor, or just, it doesn't smell right if it's not the right sale. But if it's the right sale and I'm with the right person, it smells clear to me. It smells like the rain storm when that cleared the air, and it's just fresh and beautiful. So I use my smell to intuitively feel into the situation. If you're with somebody who isn't the right for you, use your clairalience and clairgustance to check in, to say, is this the best for my highest and best? You can even taste it. This tastes bad. This tastes bitter, or this tastes rotten, or something like that. Clairalience also involves smelling things that haven't happened yet, meaning a heightened sense of smell, which can come, for instance, in disease and illnesses. There are dogs and cats that can smell out illnesses in a person. I remember sitting, a friend of mine, at the dinner table, and their dog loved chatting me up while I was eating. And sometimes I would tell them what the dog would communicate with me. And one evening, the dog said, "Why does she smell so different? Why is she smelling so different?" And I said to her, "The dog is wondering why you're smelling so different." I said, "Did you change your soap? Is there anything different?" She says, "No, I don't know what he's doing." Later, I found out she was actually pregnant, and I thought that was really fascinating. But if you can look it up, you can Google it or check out cats or and dogs that will, like, say, for instance, live in an elderly or a nursing home. And in one particular case, it was a cat that would come into a room when somebody was getting ready to pass. They had a sense of it, they had a smell of it, and they would follow their instincts and be with that person who was ill, yeah, who was getting ready to pass. And dogs have been able to sense terminal illnesses in people. There's dogs that smell cancer on you. They can smell it before it's diagnosed. And if a dog smells the cancer, you can run in, get a biopsy, see what's going on. Humans, humans being us, not cats and dogs, can have this ability as well. And many people with clairalience report being able to smell illness and disease in others. I can sense pregnancy. I can't smell it. I can't, it just feels a certain way inside of me. I don't taste it, but it's a feeling, it's a physical feeling that I get when I'm near a woman who's newly pregnant. Um, and I have been known to tell people, I think you're expecting, you should go take a test. It can be very annoying to be that person that tells that person. Um, I also feel that we can train ourselves um, through meditation and through sitting with our guides. We can also train ourselves to smell things just by smelling things, just by taking the time to, after a rainy summer day or a snowy winter day, what does it smell like? What does the storm smell like before and after? Cooking something, getting the oil changed in your car. Um, um, essence, oils are a really good way to train your sense of aliens. And of course, I could always mention that certain certain essence and oils are healing if you smell them. So there are smell olfactory senses, and some medications are taken olfactory because of the sensitivity of the person. So our smell, our snouts, are very important tools for us, and developing them can really be an amazing tool for you. So a high developed sense of smell, a natural signs of clairvoyance is may go hand in hand with highly developed sense of taste, given that our senses of taste and smell are directly linked. If you have noticed your senses of smell is heightened or more developed than the sense of smell that other people around you. My mother could smell, I don't know, she could smell what the neighbor was making for dinner 3 doors down. And I always felt like she could smell out a rat. Um, you may be clairalience, more clairalient than your peers, and try to pay attention to those moments of powerful smells and remember what it feels like in those moments. And once you have that, once you know that in yourself, it will come again. You own it. So, smelling the signature scent of a departed loved one, as I mentioned earlier, a sure sign of clairalience is recognizing and smelling a distinct smell of a loved one. Your deceased family member or friends may be trying to reach out to you to comfort you after their passing. They're fine. We're grieving, and they want to reach out and say, I love you. It's okay. I'm okay." It's the most common instance of clairalience reported, but I feel that there will be, if we talked more, we would hear more ways that people use their sense of smell as a connection through their intuition. Most people first notice their clairalient abilities when it comes to smelling a scent. They thought they would never smell again, and is often very comforting and familiar. So this isn't just for mediums. This is for people, all people using their intuition. You have a scent that's coming in. You feel like your husband has walked by with it. He's got his cologne on, or you feel my dad and his cigarettes, or my mom and her she had a shampoo. She had this shampoo that she always used, and I liked it. I liked it, but it was her shampoo. Your loved ones always want you to know that they're there for you, whether in life or death, but they also want you to know they're okay. And as you grieve, that this maybe will help your grieving process. So having a sudden smell that nobody else perceives. Have you ever been out in a group of friends and then smelled something strange? Maybe you brought it up at the table in a group and nobody else seems to know what you're smelling or what you're talking about. This is often a clear sign that you have clairalience and that you want to pay attention to your smells. Your intuition is more heightened than others. Again, perhaps you're smelling a message from your angels. And I don't talk enough about angels, but it could be a smell for angel, could be some angel trying to get your attention, or a team of spirits watching out for you, wanting you to know that they're there. And whenever you smell, whatever you may be smelling, you aren't alone, and you aren't strange. You're not weird. Just because you notice a sudden smell that nobody else around you seems to notice doesn't mean anything except for you're being touched by an angel, or your guides are coming close, or your intuition is saying, heads up, there's something going on. My sense of smell and taste, when you get to clairgusting, I could, I really got strong with it once I had my children went to daycare, and I would be in the middle of lunch or taking a break, and all of a sudden I'd taste macaroni and cheese in my mouth, or I would taste chocolate milk or something. I'm like, I don't have any of these here. And then I would check in and say, so did they eat their lunch? How'd they do? Would you have a lunch? Macaroni and cheese and chocolate milk. Okay. That was my clairgusting, checking out to see if my kids were okay and how they were doing. So it was my intuitive ability to check in and get comforted to know that my kids are eating their lunch and they're fine. And if they're eating their lunch, they must be fine. And that was my way of really reaching out to comfort my own self. So try to figure out what that smell or that taste is. Spend some time unpacking it. No, just because nobody else can smell it doesn't mean it's not there for you. Hi, and I want to taking a quick stop because we're on Facebook Live. Hi, Lauren, how you doing? And if you have any stories about clairgusting or clairalience, I'd love to hear them. I'm trying to think of other things where smelling. Smelling has always been very important to me as well. I have many times smelled something in the house, something's burning, and something's not quite right, or something's wrong, and there's nothing wrong in the house. And I have to unpack that sense of, why am I smelling something burning? Is my neighbor in trouble? First, I check out my surroundings, and then I check out my intuition. What are you guys telling me? What's cooking? I ask my intuition, I ask my soul. So what's on high? What's burning too much? To see what it is they're trying to tell me through this smell or through this taste. So how to strengthen your clairalience would be smell more things. The more smells you know, the more you will recognize. And the more that you're telling your senses, I'm ready to use you. I'm ready to be sensitized to you. And you can tell your brain, turn it on, bring it on. I want to know this. Practice clairalience with those closest to you by observing their smells and moods. And tell them what you smell and have them practice with you too. So sit with your friend and see if you can smell them. Sometimes you will smell what they had for dinner last night. Sometimes you will smell a bad mood, and that would be very cool to learn how to smell what a bad mood smells like, or what a bad mood tastes like. And also what anxiety tastes like, and or smells like on a person. So you could kind of have that sensitivity with somebody who's like, you're on edge, aren't you? Or if they're burning, they smell like they're burning. It's like, are you burning the candle at both ends? You're kind of like pushing the limits, aren't you? That kind of thing. And if you do intuitive readings, being able to smell or taste where your client is at can give you a ton of information about them. And those are intuitive senses. Those are clairs. They're totally there for you to use. How else can you strengthen clairalience? So meditation, opening up your chakras, specifically your throat chakra, which is directly linked to your olfactory, to your sense of smell and taste. And you can kind of picture that opening up, picture your senses opening up and your taste buds opening up. And then ask your guides, known as my guides, ask your guides to help you develop these senses. Sit quietly and meditate and just breathe in and breathe out and see what smells spirit brings you, and ask them what they mean. And one of a fun reading that I had was with animal communication with a dog that had passed. But what was hilarious is that there were a few dogs that passed, and they were a little put out that the owners who wanted to talk to the one dog weren't really remembering all the other dogs. So all the other dogs came in and they all had their different smell. And the dogs were communicating to me through smell and taste. So they told me what the gerbils smelled like, and they didn't like their smell. They told me what the next door dog was like through smell and feeling through my body. And sometimes I would be interpreting it into language, but they mostly were communicating through my olfactory senses. And I really had fun with it. They were hilarious because they said, well, the time you fed me the food that was this and this, it was terrible. But the time you made me the food, and they would just give me those smells, and the owners were hilariously laughing. Diffusers and oils, as I'm trying to say, are often used in meditation. And a good massage uses relaxing essential oils, and those can be very healing as you smell them, and they can take you to another place. So use oils and diffusers to sensitize yourself to say it's okay to smell. Using certain smells while meditating can help you open up your meditative senses. I like frankincense, but you choose whatever you want. I just had a session with somebody who we intuitively lilac, lavender, and hyacinth were the smells that she needed to heal something within her life. And I thought that was amazing. And those colors as well, but we're not talking about colors. We can always talk about colors later. I can always talk about colors, but so you can experiment with different smells while meditating. So meditate and then meditate, meaning going to an expanded, relaxed state, calling in your spirit guides, creating sacred space, and just bring up a smell. What does this smell mean? Talk to me about this smell, and what's its healing properties, or just get to know that smell. And your clairalience will only heighten while meditating and focusing upon it, and setting that as your intention. Some other ways to build up clairalience is you want to reconnect with mom, go and you have an old recipe of hers, bake or make that recipe exactly how she used to make it, so you can smell it. And as you smell it, that brings her closer to you. As you smell it, you can feel her more. It's a beautiful way of connecting with your loved ones. Does something smell funny when something is about to go wrong? Make a library for yourself. You're smelling something. Like I said, sometimes I smell something burning in the house and I'm like, what is this? Something's up. What's going on? And but I don't know what it is. So I'll put myself on notice to say, okay, I want to see what's going to happen next. So I'm smelling something burning, and what is the message from that? And so make a library. Or you're smelling perfume, and this perfume that you're smelling, and then all of a sudden something lovely happens. You'll get a phone call or a check comes in the mail. So pay attention to what smells are telling you, if they're telling you something future, something is about to happen. Some smells can be, oh, good news is coming in. Some smells can be like, oh, I smell a skunk. This isn't good. I think that smelling skunks means that something skunky is going on and you just haven't found it. Maybe some deception or something. But your library is your library. So what do skunk smells mean to you? You can develop, if you choose, you could develop your smells into smelling illnesses on other people. If you have diabetes or or elderly, you just can very gently develop a sense of smell about you so that you could prepare for the path in front of you, what's next and what you need to do. Or it's time to go to the doctors. Sometimes mothers can smell their kids and say, "You're not smelling right." And then they'll take a look at what else is going on. And sure enough, they have a blown out cold and ear infection, and there they go off to, and it's not the child is smelling, it's the intuitive sense of smelling. Sometimes you can smell danger, right? You can smell a rat sometimes, this is saying, or you can smell fear and sadness. And your intuition can be, your intuition of clairalience can be used to help you. So what else can we talk about? Do you ever have a dream where you're smelling something in your dream? And you wake up and you remember the sense of the smell or the taste. And it is kind of like the biggest thing you have left of that dream is that smell or that taste. This shows you that you have a strong connection with your sense and taste, and it can transcend the material world. It really can go beyond what's in front of you. So funny, I had a dream of puking. It's not good to talk on a podcast, but of puking, and I smelled it and I tasted it. I didn't have that situation, but as I woke up and I looked around my life and I said, "So what's upsetting? What's going on?" And that was a piece of information that I needed to work with for what's going on inside of me and what is happening around me that's talking to me about this sensation. It's a piece of information for you to unpack. Clairgustance. Do you have clairgustance? I think we can all have a sour taste in our mouths about something. It's clairgustance. It's a sensation that some people, it's not so important for them to taste, but you talk to somebody who's a foodie, and tasting is everything. And that person who's a foodie, I think if you push them a little or talk to them a little, you can get information from them. What does this, you're going to go to the movies, what does this movie taste like to you? Or what does this, I'm going to get a lottery ticket, what does this red lottery ticket taste like? Or we're going to go on this trip, when should we leave? What does it taste like if we left early in the morning? What would it taste like if we left in the afternoon and got in a hotel or something like that? And that will help you meet the road upriver, or meet your day upriver. It could help you prepare for your day. What does today taste like? And when you think of a person, what do they taste like? I'm going to have to meet so-and-so at that meeting. What does that taste like? And then you'd be sitting there thinking it's going to taste like a sour lemon, and all of a sudden it's a delicious melon. And you're like, oh, then maybe this meeting isn't going to be so bad. Maybe there's going to be something there that's going to be sweet and fun and warm, or melon reminds me of tropics and warm weather for some reason. So clairgustance can sneak up on you. It can sneak up as much as clairalience can come. And I feel like it's a very powerful gift for, again, discerning things and situations around you, as well as connecting to spirit, as well as predicting what could be happening, what could be coming up. It's a psychic ability. I'm talking about when you taste something without having put something in your mouth. If I'm connecting to somebody's chocolate chip cookies, really can bring in certain people for me, or somebody's, so I was waiting for my dad to call or something when he was alive, and I would taste chocolate chip cookies and go, I think my dad's going to call, that kind of thing. And so when you're with the people that you love that are alive, what do they taste like? His mom tastes like chocolate chip cookies. Does dad taste like his sauce that he makes, or the barbecue? Or does dad taste like, you can smell the cigarettes and cigars, but you can taste them too in your mouth, and is that happening when you're with somebody that you love? So pay attention and observe now, and then later that smell or that taste will tell you something, because you've integrated it into your conscious mind, and you now have associated that smell with that experience. So that smell can come in and talk to you. You're building your library. when you're remembering certain situations or places, can you sense a taste in your mouth of the food that you ate there? Or can you remember a smell of the room that you were in and what it smelled like? And those smells will return to you in a psychic way that will either remind you of the situation, or it says, hey, you remember when we were in the situation where we did blah, blah, blah? And that smell will come back and say, I want you to pay attention because that's about to happen again. Or you're in that same situation now. And when, again, going back to meditation practices, as you're meditating with spirit and a certain taste comes to you from spirit, welcome it and say, who are you? Or what are you telling me? Or what do you have to say to me? What is the message? I have read for people where I have tasted the foods they needed to eat, or I smelled something that they needed to eat, or I smelled something that they needed to stay away from. And sometimes somebody will come in and ask me about a relationship. What should they do about the relationship? And all I can do is smell skunk. And I'm like, how am I going to, I smell a skunk. I have to unpack that and give solid information. You can't, around what does that skunk smell? Tell me what is there? It's okay. So there's nervous energy. So unpacking the skunk for me would be, okay, there's nervous energy. There's a feeling of being threatened. And when this feeling of being threatened and they're not going to resolve the problem, they're going to turn around and blame it on you or skunk it on you. And then you have to clean up the mess. How does that sound? Oh yeah, that happens all the time. Okay, so there's a skunk here. There's a non-ownership of conflict. I'm not taking care of things. So we're just going to make it stink real bad so that you have to run and not resolve the conflict, but take care of the problem. And that to me is what a skunk relationship would be when I smell that. So spirit loves to communicate to us through beautiful smells. The angels all have smells. I made angel sprays a few years ago with different, I looked up different flower essences and oils, frankincense being one of the biggest one, but gardenia was a whole big one. And each of the angels has a certain smell along with colors and stuff. So create angel sprays, do your research and create angel sprays. So those smells are around you and they can be you could spray them when you can't sleep, or you need to call in Gabrielle, you want to call in Uriel, they have their smell. So I found that to be, oh, those smell, the sprays sold like hotcakes, but I haven't done it since, but I have a set for myself that I like to spray and use to clear the air, but also to calm me down. Lots of reasons. So smells, again, are beautiful. So ask your spirits. Another exercise when you're meditating is when you ask your spirits for help, your spirit team and your loved ones can be there and they can help you develop these two aspects. I know I'm looking through all these notes that I made of how to learn, taste new things. Go out and taste and smell new things. Go to the florist and pick up flowers that you haven't smelled in a long time, or pick up flowers that you've never sniffed. Sniff a carnation. What do they smell like? Well, it's that kind of thing. And also get recipes that use foods that you've never cooked with, and then really smell and taste them. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but at least you have that smell and you have that taste within your palate, and your psychic senses can use that palate that you're developing and strengthen your sense of taste and smell. And somehow spirit may show up with you saying, when you meditate to the angels, you can ask them what their smell is, or bring a smell to me so that I know it's you, or bring a taste to my mouth so that I know it's you. And a really great way to prove the continuity of life is through these senses, is through, like I said, the favorite cut grass. He was always out mowing his grass. You could always smell that cut grass that reminds you of Dad. Oh yeah, I loved it. He had this, that would send off a beautiful memory. Or she always had this, like I talked about my mom and the shampoo, but maybe there was always this specific cleaning product that was used that could remind you of the of somebody, or the animal always had really bad breath. That's definitely, Duke. That was definitely Duke. He always had the worst breath ever. We tried to brush his teeth, but we couldn't, kind of thing. And so interestingly, a lot of scientists think that the majority of our sense of taste is actually a sense of smell. So that's why you want to work with the taste and the smell together. So do you ever smell something and it's so powerful that you're tasting it? Right? But I think they all work together. When you're eating, pay attention to the smells that the foods bring. How many just people just sit down and there goes the food, it's gone in a couple of bites. Really take your time to eat, tasting the foods, smelling what it smelled like to cook the foods, and smelling the oils that they were cooked in. And then let your emotions rise to the occasion. Let your feelings nurture you. Or and even I was talking the other day about favorite foods when we were growing up, as one of nine. And my friend was saying, oh, those are poor people's foods. And I said, well, those are the foods we ate all the time. And we never called it poor people's foods. But the smell of the soups that were cooking, or the handmade bread that was baking, bring me home to a time. And or tomato soup also brings me back. And to a time where many were being fed by really simple means. And I really love simple foods. And those smells can bring me back to the happy time. So you're going through some trauma, or and a smell reminds you of something that's upsetting. Find another smell that will remind you of when you weren't so upset, or where you were nurtured. And sometimes in healing, we need to find the balance in what happened to us in the trauma. So you could have the smell that brings you to the trauma. You can have the smell that brought you out of the trauma. And so work with smell and taste for healing aspects. I think this is a fun game to play. Remember I told you about my kids? I could taste what they were, the babies, they could taste what they were having for lunch. They even tell when they were eating grapes. There was something about the crunch and then taste of that. But have a friend tell you when they're going to have dinner or lunch, and they're not going to tell you what they're eating, but then sit quietly and see what are they having for, ask what they're having for lunch. Ask your spirits through intention to help you to know what foods and what smells were happening during your friend's meal. And then later, write it down. It's got to be something that you're going to smell. And don't say I don't smell anything, because maybe if you don't smell anything, does your friend have a cold? What's going on? So really believe that you're going to get something, and then call your friend and say, here's what I got, and see how close you are, and practice it. Do it more than one time. And then sometimes ask your friend, can you really eat something that's flavorful? Or what flavor of wine are you drinking? Or what do they have in their lunch bag? You're at work and they're getting out their lunch box or whatever they carry their food in, and just see if you can sense what's in that lunch bag before it's opened. These are all really good ways to build up your senses. Sometimes in the grocery store, you know how you pick up a fruit or a fresh vegetable and you kind of feel it. Is it too ripe? Is it ripe? You could actually look at it and smell it in your body and say, does this smell right to me? Does this taste right to me? From a psychic intuitive point of view, and know if this is the right produce for you to get. I have picked up fruit before, and I put it down because I could taste it in my mouth just by holding it. And I'm like, this isn't going to be good. And I would put it down, and it saved me from buying a lot of bad fruit. Although it's not 100%, but try that. And actually, if you pick it up and it doesn't taste good, spend the money to buy it and then eat it and see, was I right or was I wrong? So you want to reinforce your senses as well. You want to give yourself feedback. If you have a sense of this peach is going to taste awful, and take it home and take a bite into it. And if it tastes awful, just say, good job. You're right. This is, or if the peach is going to be great, you take it home and it's great. Good job. You want to reinforce your positives, your wins, and that will help you find more wins. And if you pick a peach that you think is going to be great, it tastes awful, don't give yourself a hard time. Just say, okay, we tried. we'll try again. Lauren says she smells cigar smokes and she thinks of her dad or her grandpa. And that's just such a lovely, lovely feeling. And your grandma's perfume can be so comforting because you know that they're around, or you can decide that they're around, and there's nothing wrong about that. It's definitely, if you're smelling something out of the ordinary, that's no reason for that to be there. There is a message there, and it's usually from the spirit side. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about body language. Talking about taste and smell, this is something physical that comes to you, and it's imposing itself on your senses. It's a very physical thing. I don't want to use the imposing, but it is making itself known in a kind of an invisible way. Our bodies talk to us through it. They can talk to us through our intuition, but they also can talk to us through pain and through reaction to things. And our bodies, and read Louise Hayes, any person that talks about the body, mental, emotional connection of the body, will talk about how your body can talk to you. And your body can talk to you about intuitive things, what is about to pass, or what in your situation are you missing. And your body can tell you through pain, or through goosebumps, or a backache, or an upset stomach. Clairsentience is kind of what you would call the feelings in your body. In a mediumship, sometimes I can feel how somebody passed. I could feel twinges in my body. So my body is helping me with the mediumship. My body doesn't like doing that too much, because it's a little bit too much of the bad news, and my body gets confused. Am I sick or I'm not sick? So we had to kind of back a little bit off on the clairsentient. But clairsentient, when our bodies feel something, our bodies, it can be information about what's going on. And I feel like the body can go on its own. It's not just clairsentient, it's the body actually speaking loudly to you. Your body can speak loudly to you through illnesses and through chronic problems. If you can spend the time to sit with that in sacred space and meditate, and send your body appreciation, and just quietly listen to your body and ask your body to please unpack what it's telling you, what's really happening here. And your body has a lot to say through that pain. But if you don't want to have the pain anymore, let's listen to the body. And it might say, you didn't warm up before we went for the walk today, did we? Or it could say, you're in the wrong situation, and you're in the wrong relationship, you're in the wrong job, or you're in the right job. We feel so good. Do you ever leave a job and go to a new job, and all of a sudden all that fibromyalgia you had just goes away, and you're in a better place and you're feeling good? Your body tells you, I'm not happy. You're not happy. I'm not happy. Nobody's happy. It's time to move on. And when our bodies are giving us that we can message of stress, or we're not in the right place, or it's not the right time, we can feel defeated. We can feel that our body's letting us down, and our body isn't giving us the information that we want to hear. But really it is. It's giving you the information that this isn't the right situation. This isn't the right time. This isn't the right place. It's time to move forward. I had a very serious problem with a frozen shoulder once. Both my shoulders were frozen. I couldn't lift my elbows up, and it happened rather rapidly, one arm and then the other arm. And I'm like, how is this happening? But there was a huge decision that I had to make that I was deferring. I wasn't making that decision, and I kept talking myself into not going forward with the decision. And when I finally tried to talk to my body, it was going on for 9 months. I said, it's not telling me anything. And then one day I was sitting down with a friend, and I said, it says there's no clarity in what I'm doing. And when I realized that I had to be clear on the decisions that I was making, and not just mess around with, I think I will, I'm not thinking, when I made the decision and moved forward into a new situation for myself, all of a sudden the pain went away like it was never there. 9 months of that pain. My body was telling me that I was carrying a weight, and I was not, somehow with the arms, I was not able to move. If I stayed in the situation I was in, I had to go forward with the situation, and it was amazing. So the body does talk to us, and I feel that it's in the realm of intuition, and that the body doesn't have the words to necessarily say. It only has the um the nerves, and the pain, and the muscles. So there's so much, if we could spend time talking to our bodies, that our bodies could tell us not enough water, not enough sunshine. I really love it when you do this. Why do you only do it once a month? Kind of thing. So the memories in the body, our body holds, they call cellular memory. And sometimes our bodies will very happily hold on to trauma so that we can go through our daily lives without living through that trauma day after day after day. But at some point, the body needs to release that cellular memory or that trauma. And we need to take responsibility for that and listen to what the body's trauma is in the body, and comfort the body and say, we don't have that trauma anymore, and we're taking care of this, and this is what we're doing to take care of this. What do you need to let it go? You need a few massages? Do you just need me to remind you or point out all the things that I've been doing so it's not that way anymore? Or do you need what do you need, and what do you how can you hear me, kind of thing? And if we could have these conversations with um our body can help us move forward. So that's healing, that's intuitive, that's energetic healing, was a very important part of the intuitive language that comes through our physicality. Um, since we're talking about physical and spirit, I just want to have a quick little talk to you about physical mediumship. It's kind of like out there. I don't know if it's kind of a random idea or a random thought, but there are many misconceptions when it comes to mediumship. Um, One major distinction that needs to be understood is that there's a difference between physical mediumship and mental mediumship. And mental mediumship is what the mediumship that most mediums are doing right now, which is they have an impression through their senses, and then they describe what they're seeing and what they're sensing, seeing, feeling, hearing through their clairs, to prove the continuity of life. Physical mediumship is when the spirit comes through, and the energetics of the body make things like ectoplasm, or make things that ectoplasm can cause, come together outside of the body, and it creates a voice box, or a place where a voice or sound can come through. And another ectoplasmic experience is you actually can see an apparition of a person, either the head, the shoulders, or the whole body. Those were early day mediumships. It's not happening so much now. I think spirit has figured out a much more accurate way. The physical mediums would usually get very sick and die very young. And it was not very good for bad health and mediumship. I don't see that was a positive moving forward. So, but in the beginning of mediumships, there's seeing these rappings where you'd hear knocking, and the knocking would give you information. And during the Hydesville rappings with the Fox sisters, that was physical mediumship, where they were listening to the sound and trying to figure out what letter of the alphabet it was, or what it meant. And that was physical mediumship. And there's some things happening now, like there's trumpets through a meditative state, and through the energies of medium, one or a collection of mediums, where the trumpet will rise up. Sometimes it makes noise, or sometimes it just moves around the room. And table tipping is also physical mediumship, where the energy of the mediums, or the energy of the communicators, will build up with spirit, and spirit will somehow be able to, the energy goes into the wood of the table, and the spirit is able to communicate through the energy. That's physical mediumship. Those things are happening now. The trumpet, the table tipping, and some other, that's the ones that I know about. I know there's other physical mediumships that are happening, but they're through the physical essence of the body, as well as the energy and the spirit of the medium. And those are very amazing, but very rare expressions of physical mediumship, and I also feel like physical intuition. And then what's coming back too is precipitated painting. There's an artist that I've heard about who actually does paintings in nature, and the painting, what happens is the painting paints itself, or an image comes out without ever having done the painting, but then it comes through the medium's energy. And there's a few paintings in Lilydale, but I heard of an artist who's painting on rocks, and she'll come the next morning and there'll be new colors on it and new images on it. So that's coming back a little bit. That's through intention, through energies, through meditation. So I just wanted to add that into the whole point of physical intuition, and how much our bodies can help us develop that conversation with the higher powers, and of spirit, of soul, and of those angels, so that we can have a conversation with them outside of our heads, or just outside of our logical head, into our intuitive and essence, the clairs that are through our senses. Very important to develop and learn. Everyone can develop and learn from them. You can develop your own library. You don't have to tell anybody about it, but when such and such happens, you know that is your library. That smell means this, that taste means this feeling is that my body is telling me means this, or I need to explore it a little bit more. I can't just go my merry way and ignore the world. So these are all different aspects of ourselves that stop us in our tracks and say, take a look, go deeper, lift the hood of the car and go more. So I'm going to look at, say thank you for everyone for listening to me during the recording of this session. And it's time to wrap it up and experiment with this information that I'm bringing to you. These are all soul level communications, so language, kind of like soul languages, and they bring depth into your life, and they clear up a lot of things, and they can move you forward from a chaos into calm. Trust yourself, develop your relationship with your soul through your physical body, and see what happens. And have a wonderful time. I'll see you in the next episode. And we will, I don't know what we're going to cover, but I want you to play with this and give me feedback about how clairalience and clairgustance are affecting your life and what they're telling you. Use these tools to learn and grow, and build your relationship with your soul. And life's going to be good, and life is good. So until next time, I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Many blessings.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.